Hey guys, welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today I will be recreating Pewdiepie's Minecraft survival base in my Greek Odyssey world. Now, if you don't know what my Greek Odyssey world is, it's a creative project I've been working on for a few months, and I have 2 videos on it before this one on my channel, if you want to see them. Anyway, if you enjoy this recreation, please share this to help a bro out, it would mean a lot to me. Anyway, let's get started. Now that we started with the video, we needed to start building Pewdiepie's Minecraft base. The first step was to build the island where Felix's base resided. We wanted to build the island so that we could match Pewdiepie's actual base as best as we could, and so that we didn't interrupt the rest of the world with this build. So I got my friend Adam to help me with this bit, and we just started adding stone from the ocean, and gradually made smaller layers to make it look like a real island. As you can see now, we also started building the cliff that is near Pewdiepie's house. You know, the one with the frick dungeon, to match the geographical features as accurately as possible. We wanted to build this cliff along the side of the island where it is in Felix's actual base. Then we started extending the island to where we would be building Pewdiepie's crop farm. We wanted to make this area a little lower than the rest of the island to give the island a more varied altitude. So as you can see, and as we did earlier, we filled an area of stone, and we just started adding layers to it to give it a realistic island look. Then we started turning the stone of the island into grass. Now that we're mostly finished with the island, I'll be working on the first structure of Felix's base, his house. However, I'm recreating Pewdiepie's old house since his new one is incomplete and would be too massive to match the rest of the world. Also, Adam left by this point, and I just want to say thank you to him for helping me with the first part of the island. His channel will be in the link below. So, as you can see, I started building a simple frame for this house. Not too worried about details yet. I also built the signature birch tree inside his house, and modified it to make it look a bit better than the default Minecraft tree. As you can see, I also made the back of his house rounded a bit to give it an interesting Greek flair to it, making it look like a Greek aristocrat's house, or something like that. Then I started working on the enchantment table. I put it on the tree like Pewdiepie did, and I experimented with different bookshelf designs. I decided to make them hang from the wall so that they were not physically touching or on the leaves. Next, I needed to construct the roof. I used acacia slabs to gradually raise the roof, and I decided to frame a hole in the roof out of smooth stone slabs to let light in for the tree. I then made a simple but decorated entrance for Felix's house, using gold to give it that extra flair. Finally, for the outside of the house, I experimented with and finally decided to use blue concrete to line the sides of the walls. Almost finished with the house, I only needed to work on the interior now. I made simple furniture and lights to make the house look more functional and less empty. I even gave it a bell so Felix could mess around with it as much as he wanted to remind himself of water sheep. To finish off with the house, I added his secret storage room. I started off by digging a hole to build a stairwell that leads to a storage area. I even added the ladder at the end to fully represent Felix's signature stair design. Yes, I've watched Pewdiepie's whole series so far. I know almost everything about it. Anyway, I then dug an area to make it the actual storage area. It did start to break out of the ground and you could see the sea behind, but I fixed it and raised the grass height behind his house to cover that. After lining the walls and ground with stone bricks and quartz, I added the chests for storage and added some extra architectural features to enhance the room's look. On the other side of the storage room, I wanted to add the lava pits that Felix has. So I had to make a few errors, but I finally came up with a simple yet effective design. I also then added iron bars like Pewdiepie did. I'm finished with Pewdiepie's house for now, but there are some extra details I need to work on later in the video, and I will show them at the very end. So, I continued by working on the land outside his house. I made a wooden deck that would serve as the pathway throughout the entire island. I even extended it to serve as a mini dock over the water. I also started working on a wheat field to represent Pewdiepie's crop farms. To make the wheat farms functional, I added little puddles of water to make the land look more fertile and so that the crops would actually grow. So, after a while, I was happy with the shape of the farmland, and I started to work on other structures. The next structure I built was a mini cactus, melon farm. They're melons, not cacti, Felix. But yeah, I gave the melon farm a little Greek cover too, to match the rest of the world. The next thing I did was extend the walkway to the other side of the island, and I included Pewdiepie's mini mineshaft entrance. So there isn't really much to say about this part other than that, and other than I was just coming up with other ideas to fill the rest of the area. Then I realized that I needed to build Jorgen's stable. I started with a simple base and added fences to serve as the main walls. It was a pretty simple idea, but I added different blocks to give the stable a more varied look. And I was happy with the result. If you haven't noticed, I really like acacia wood for the roofs of houses. So, after more decoration, I was finished with the structure and moved to making the land look more farmy. I used a combination of grass paths and coarse dirt to do that. I then built a fence to surround the area that would be the sheep pen, which Pewdiepie for some reason connected to a stable for Jorgen, who was a horse. Anyway, I added wooden planks at the end of the field to extend outside the island a little bit to give the sheep a little more space. Then I started to work on a feature which I almost completely forgot about, yet conveniently had the space to do so: his swimming pool. I started off by digging a rectangular hole, just like anyone does when they build a pool, nothing too special. I used a combination of stone bricks and cobblestone, but I also built a little square bulge for what would be the heating system. I filled the heating system with lava, which is hot. Very hot. Hot enough to heat up pools. I also lined the sides of the pool with diorite slabs. Then I started working on a tarp for the pool, a feature Felix doesn't have, but I thought it would look really nice and give his base some extra color, and especially give him some Swedish colors, since Pewdiepie is Swedish. I continued by enhancing the mineshaft entrance a little bit, and by building the fenced area for where the Pee Poo Poo army resides. Not too much other than that. Now is time for one of the most important structures in his base, the Church of Water Sheep. Now, since this is a Greek-themed world, I decided to build an ancient temple of water sheep instead. So, the first step was to extend the island to where I would build the temple. After smoothing out the new land, I started to build a base for the temple, and I experimented a little bit with the dimensions. Then I lined the sides of it with a custom stone brick pillar design. I used a combination of regular stone bricks and mossy stone bricks to make it look more moist. Yes, moist. Inside the temple, I worked on a mini structure where the Council of Water Sheep stood and held their meetings. I used emeralds, since Water Sheep used to love emeralds, and his grave was made out of emeralds, to give the temple extra flair. The main focus here was to finish the Council of Water Sheep's meeting area, and a few sheep had to be sacrificed, but I eventually came up with a nice design. I then needed to build a ceiling. I used quartz blocks to do that. Then I finished off with the exterior by building a roof out of stone bricks and diorite slabs. For the council, I accidentally spawned a sheep in the wrong place, so he had to die. Later I spawned in 3 sheep in the right place, and I dyed their wool yellow and blue, like the real council in Pewdiepie's world is. Again, another very important structure, I needed to build the legendary IKEA Tower. This tower is so legendary that it caused a company in real life called IKEA to be formed in Sweden. Well, that's not actually how it is, but it's a legendary tower nonetheless. I started by making a beacon with a base out of gold, diamond, and emerald blocks to represent Jorgen 1, Jorgen 2, and Water Sheep, and I made the beacon light blue. I lined the walls of the tower mostly out of stone bricks and other cobblestone and similar blocks to stone bricks. For the top of the tower, I extended the base so there would be a larger area to stand on, and I also used diorite walls to support the acacia roof on top. I added a custom Swedish flag banner to the sides of IKEA Tower, and the majesty of IKEA Tower was mostly done. Then I started to build the graves of Water Sheep, Jorgen 1, and Jorgen 2. Out of respect for them, there will be a moment of silence. After I finished with the graves, I worked on the statue of Watersheep's face on the side of the cliff. I did not make a frick dungeon inside, however, because that would be disrespectful to Watersheep Felix. Now, I needed to build the giant, glorious meatball. I wanted to make it a bit unique, so I decided to mount it on a giant stand coming out from the ocean. For the stand, I used a combination of quartz pillars, chiseled quartz, and regular quartz. I also added a hint of gold at the top of the stand. For the meatball itself, I used black terracotta. Since terracotta is mostly orange, the black terracotta looks more like dark brown. So I made a small spherical shape, and then I added light brown terracotta to add variation to the color of the meatball. Now, for the final structure of this build, the statue of Jorgen. To make it match the rest of the world, I decided to just make it Jorgen and not include IKEA Bird or the rider. Yes, it is sad. It's not exactly the same as in Pewdiepie's world, and IKEA Bird is not being put in it, but I thought a horse statue alone would look nicer and match the rest of the world better. Anyway, sorry about that. So I used dark oak stairs and slabs, and I used black terracotta for the horse's body, while I used coal blocks for the hooves, tail, and crest hair. Now, since this is one of the longest builds in this world, and I kept modifying and adding to it, I don't have much to say about it, so we will just have another moment of silence for Jorgen and IKEA Bird. So after I finish with the statue of Jorgen, I will be done with the project. Looks like it's time to roll the cinematic. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I truly hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, I would love it if you can like, comment, subscribe, or share this video. Anything would help. So again, thank you so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye!